Hello, this is Total Transparency, and I sincerely apologize for not having many recent uploads. Honestly, I've had some serious writer's block, and it's kind of come in between me and, well, making videos. But today I kind of wanted to explore a very complex topic. I have many thoughts on it as a psychologist. In the near future, of course. I'm working on licensure. Don't sue me. But, where do I even start with this? I guess I was on campus this week, and people, well, to give you some backstory, when I was an undergraduate, I was the hot goth girl. At least that's what people called me. I was very loved. I was the prom queen. We won't go into the homecoming court campaigns. That's a topic for a separate video, and I won't address that here today. But I was loved. Never the last one standing. Always at every party. People, workers, professionals, doctors, they'd always wave hello as I walked by. It was something I was very, very used to. I've been out of school since 2018. I'm probably going to go back soon because I'd like to get my doctoral degree in psychology so I can work on gender therapy in the near future. But I went to talk to some professors, and somebody I had known for years when I visited this week didn't know who I was at first. They didn't know who Ash was, and I know that sounds egotistical as hell, and I'm not trying to be a narcissist when I say that. I'm saying it because it's what I'm used to, and it happens to be the case. I'm a realist, so I don't believe in counterproductive pride. It's kind of satanically sinful, so to speak, and something I choose not to practice. Basically, don't get your head shoved up your own ass. It's very unhealthy, and it hurts you. So if self-preservation and self-betterment and deification is the goal, you don't want to be a narcissist. So the ego must be fulfilled, but it must be kept in check as well. So I'm a realist. So I wouldn't say anything unless I had a reason to believe it, and us autists are terrible liars as well. So anyways, back to the story. I walk in and nobody knew who I was until I opened my mouth. And they asked, wow, they said, wow, you have changed so much. I've never seen HRT work that quickly. For the very first time in my life, I walked 2 miles across campus and I was no one. No one at all. And as strange as this sounds, because I mean, being loved is a lot of people's dream. It's something people aspire to be. I've been there and I've been without, and honestly, being forgotten, it was beautiful. I was happy to be forgotten, to be a remnant of people's imaginations and memories and a story people tell. You want to know why that is? Because the sad truth, since I've come out of school and gone my own way, so to speak, is because they loved an idea of me. They did not love Ash. They loved a goth girl. That's all I was. I wasn't a person. I became an object, a fancy car, a beautiful piece of arm candy. There was no real me. As much as I bitched and moaned about individualism, Ash did not exist. He never did. And honestly, the point I'm wanting to get to in this video and why that's such a refreshing reality to be forgotten and to embrace that, despite the cultural narrative that popularity is amazing and you should be successful and loved. Everybody wants to be some celebrity. The reason I'm going into that is because I had a very stark realization about my life all these years, why I didn't do something sooner. You want to know the truth? The truth is, love makes it hard to leave. Whether it's a church group, a cult, a family member, if you feel loved by someone, the thought, or people, a group, the masses, I don't know. It could be anybody. This applies to many different situations. But when you feel loved, it's harder to not conform. It's easier to engage in groupthink, even at your own self-detriment. I sat upon a throne, but it was a throne of lies. And it was killing me. And honestly, I'm really glad I haven't gotten accepted back into school yet. In order to get away from that groupthink, that cult speak, so to speak, to not be the cult of personality anymore, to evolve as a man, I needed to disengage. Love, it's not always a good thing. And I've expanded upon this in other videos, but it is a drug. Everybody wants it, everybody needs it to a certain psychological extent. But the way the culture portrays it now, and how that influences your action and your actions, your well-being and your happiness, it has a dark side to it. It's intoxicating, but it's not real. Sometimes you absolutely need to get away from the group. You need to stop taking input from them. Do some serious reflection. And eventually, once you're removed from the drug, you can see really clearly. And that's enabled me to transition. Nobody meant ill will by liking me. There was no grand conspiracy. There's no one out to get Ash. But ultimately, I got myself into a situation that was psychologically hard to leave. And that's what's sad. People crave relationships. We are ultimately social animals at the end of every day. But as intoxicating as that group is intoxicating as acceptance is, what matters more is that you accept you. That's the only thing that's going to lead to happiness. People come, people go. As they all do. People die, people move away. And sometimes when you're able to get away from that, it's healthier. So, honestly, I'm glad to be forgotten. Please, forget me. And when I return, I hope to be known as a better man. A much better man. Not a neurotic goth girl. But I don't want to mask being transgender and gay. Because everyone loves arm candy. I don't want to be... I'm not going to get into anything way too personal. But there was something I told one of my friends the other day. We were talking about college, and I've been a Stacy, or what incels would call a Stacy. I've been with a lot of people. But you want to know something? All of those people, all of those years, it was empty. It was an act. Nothing is fulfilling about it. It was something you did, a social exchange for power, for stories, for all of the things people provide to one another. It wasn't even enjoyable. It was barely even sexuality or love at that point. I never fully realized this until I won't talk about like my sex life or anything, but until I had my first truly homosexual experience with somebody who accepted me as a trans man, wanted that, and who I could be genuinely real with. And once I tasted blood, so to speak, I realized the lie I had been living, all of the things I missed out on. everything that illusion of power, that illusion of love creates. When you remove the people, when you remove the intoxicating stimulus, all you're left with is you. And ultimately, it's you that has to face that. So forget me. Forget the liar. When I come back, I'm going to be a much better person because of all of this. I'm going to challenge the state of Kentucky for my birth certificate. I'm probably going to have top surgery within the next year. I'll get my documents updated. And I'll be a different person, a better one. Because ultimately, the person I was before could not sustain itself. Didn't have to be that way. It didn't. And honestly, I'm on to bigger and better things. Forget me. And in closing, I've actually been reading another book. It meant a lot to me in college. I wasn't able to get through it. But let me find the quote. Like I said, I'm not promoting suicide or anything like that. This is just a book I happen to pick up. I don't subscribe to Hyperianism or like Morg's philosophy necessarily. I appreciate what he has to say, but I highly recommend The Metaphorical Suicide. It's pretty interesting. I highly recommend you read it, even if you don't fully agree with everything. As an empiricist, I take issue with a lot of it, but there was one thing he said in this book that stuck with me during my transition thus far. It's only been 2 months in, but this hit me like a ton of bricks, because ultimately it is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for tearing down all of your false assumptions, everything that is holding you back, all of the bad ideas, all of the trauma, all of the neuroticism. The quote is, "Here is the bullet and here is the gun. It is up to you to pull the trigger." So that, while he's being completely metaphorical and polemic when he says that, I didn't have to die to destroy that terrible person I used to be. The truth is, I had to be willing to tear down everything that was a lie about me. Everything that I had pushed under the surface that came out in some weird defense mechanism or neurotic way. I had to tear down every assumption. And ultimately, the last thing I had to destroy was the illusion of love. And at the end of it, you become a man who can stand on his own 2 feet, woman, whatever. Generally applies to people. So, in closing, forget me. Ashley Pritchard died a long time ago, and now all I see are tomorrows. All I see is a future ahead of me. Without all of that baggage, without all of that neuroticism, I'm finally free to create something. Oh, that's Ouija. I'm free to become the man of my own choosing. Something bigger than experiences, something bigger than other people. Something bigger than an idea. Know what that is? It's me. This has been Total Transparency. I don't mean to give you a heavy vlog that's completely impromptu, but this is something I've been meditating on a lot recently. I've been exploring all kinds of themes about identity loss and identity gain, and ultimately rebirth. I was weak. I needed to destroy myself. I needed to pull the trigger to finally be a better person, even if it meant I lost family, friends, men, everyone. I want to lose everything. Strip me down to my bare bones and build me better. Forget me. This has been Total Transparency. Peace out for next Testosterone Tuesday.